Hello, welcome to class. This is Module 2, Level 3, Part 1A, and this class is going to be on how to make underbust corsets. I'm also going to be teaching you how to create the snatched waistline effect on your corset. This is a trend that's currently in vogue, so I'm sure it's something you really want to learn how to do. But first off, I wanted to mention that this class is a snippet from our Advanced Online Corset Masterclass, which is packed with so much knowledge over bust corset, underbust corset, Victorian corset, corset dresses, how to create different styles of corset, and corsets with illusion neckline. So please follow the seller link in the description box to purchase the full course. So these are the materials that we need, and that is my bra cup. Please note that this is the double padded bra cup. And then here are the measurements that we're going to be needing. We're going to need the bust circumference, your underbust circumference, your waist circumference, your hip circumference. You would also need your shoulder to bust point, your shoulder to underbust measurement, your shoulder to waist, as well as your corset length. And this is how to take your corset length measurement. Please pay attention to that. You would also need your bust span measurement. So my shoulder to bust point is 10, shoulder to underbust is 14, shoulder to waist is 19 inches. Remember that I mentioned earlier that your natural waistline is 2 inches, between 2 and 2.5 inches above your navel. So shoulder to navel is 19 inches. Your shoulder to your natural waistline should be 17 inches or 16.5 inches. Can use between 17 and 16.5 inches. So this is me ruling out all of my line, and then my corset length is 21 inches. Do you understand that? So I'm going to square out all of this vertical points with horizontal lines. So this is what you can see me doing. Then also you can see me marking my bust span and bust circumference divided by 2 measurements. So my bust is 36 divided by 2, that is 18 inches. That's what you first saw me marking. And then I also marked my bust arc. My bust arc is my bust circumference divided by 4. Do you understand? So this vertical line that I just drew is my bust circumference divided by 2, which is 18 inches. And this one that I'm drawing right now is my bust span divided by 4, my bust circumference divided by 4. Do you understand? Making 9 inches. So this is my bust point line, under bust line, natural waistline. Remember that I said that this is my navel line or my waistline. And then this is my hemline, which is my corset length line. So now I'm marking my bust span measurement. My bust span is 8 inches divided by 2. That's 4 inches. That's what you can see me marking. And then I'm going to go ahead and square out that line. Can you see that? So now I'm going to measure what I have between that bust span line and my bust arc line. Gents, and divide that into 2. I'm just trying to create more panels. So this is the panel that you can see me creating. And then next thing, this is my bust arc line. Pay attention to that, guys. Like, this is my bust arc line. So between my bust arc line and my center back line, I'm measuring what I have, which is 9 inches, and I'm dividing that into 3. So each of these panels is 3 inches. I'm just trying to create more panels, essentially. So this is my bust arc line. Do you understand? This would also serve as my side seam line. Do you understand? So now I'm going to draw out my bust radius, the circle around my bust for my cup. So that's what you can see me measuring. I subtracted 0.5 inches from my bust span. My bust span was 4 inches minus 0.5, that's 3.5. So the width of this protractor that you can see me using to draw this circle is 3.5 inches. Do you understand? And then I put it at my bust point and I drew out my circle. So here are some measurements that you need to pay attention to before we impute our circumference measurement. Your bust arc is 9 inches. Remember, your bust arc is bust circumference divided by 4. That's 9 inches. Under bust arc is 7 inches. Waist arc is 7.25 inches. And then your hip arc is 9.25 inches. And so now pay attention to what I'm going to do. So from your under bust, subtract 1. From your underbust arc, subtract 1. From your waist arc, subtract 2 inches. Do you understand that? Very, very important. So this is how to create that snatched effect. Do you understand? So this is how to create that snatched effect. So now meaning that on our underbust arc, for our underbust arc, we should be using 6 inches. For our natural waist arc, we should be using 5.25 inches. Do you understand? So now I'm going to impute my dart on this first line, my first panel line, which is also my bust pan line. You could see me marking 3/4 inches on both sides of that line. So the width of my total width of my dart is 1.5 inches. Do you understand? So now this is me trying to create that basque waistline. Do you understand? So I've just gone down from my corset length, which was 21, by 1 inch, making it 22 inches. So that's the line that you can see me squaring out right now. So next thing on my bust arc line, I'm going up by 2 inches, and I'm just going to use a diagonal line to connect both points. Do you understand? So now because I've lifted up the length of the side of my corset on the side same line, I'm going to also do the same at the back because I want the back to be straight. The hemline of the back of my corset should be straight. So that's what you could see me doing. So that's my new corset line. I wish I could erase the former one so that you don't get confused. So I'm going to also impute that measurement on my hemline. So that's 3/4 inches on both sides of that line. Do you understand? I'm just going to square out the line from my underbust to my corset length line. Can you see that? So that's my dart. So now I'm going to go ahead and impute 3/8 inches dart on both sides of each of these lines. So essentially the width of the other darts now is 3/4 inches. Do you understand? So meaning 3/8 inches on both sides of the line. If you don't understand all, please head over to the channel and watch my tutorial on how to read tape measures accurately. So this is me marking 3/8 inches on both sides of the line. So 3/8 inches and then 3/8 inches. You get that part. Then also 3/8 inches, 3/8 inches. Do the same for everything. So I wanted to mention that seeing as we have taken out 3/8 inches dart, at that back area, it means that that space that would normally have for modesty panel, when you try to create that space by taking about 2 inches from the top of your center back, do you understand? From your whole center back length, just so that you're able to create that space for lacing, you will not have to do that. So now next thing is to draw out all of these lines, and you can see that I'm going to extend these lines to the top. Do you understand? That's why I'm saying that you might not need to deduct anything for that modesty panel area. If you've watched my tutorial on how to draft the corset pattern, you'd understand what I'm talking about. So you can see that we've raised that dart leg up. Do you understand? Meaning that we've deducted about 1.5 inches already away from the length of the corset. Do you understand? So you might not need to deduct anything. Maybe you might just deduct maybe about another 1 inch from the total length of the corset. So now we're trying to create this snatched waistline effect. So on your natural waistline, measure 1 inch on both sides of your bust arc line. Do you understand that? So this is on your natural waistline. So that snatched effect is going to be on the natural waistline. Can you see that? So you can see me connecting it back. Can you see? So you can see that you can already see itself that we've already created that effect. You can see how nice and smooth it already looks. So now we're going to go ahead and impute and cross-check our circumference measurements. So I've raised the dart at the back. However, the dart in front, you can see that it's pointed as against, deducting from the total length of the corset. So I'm just trying to cross-check my measurements, and I'm excluding, these are all my darts. Let me just shade all of my darts so that it will be clear to you. This is my side seam, so it's not really a dart, but this one is a dart, this is a dart also. Can you see that? So those are all darts. So as I'm measuring, I'm going to exclude the darts. Can you see that? I'll measure to the first leg of the dart, move my tape rule to the end of the dart, and then continue my measurements. Can you see that? So at the end of the day, now what I have is 13 inches. And remember that under bust arc is 6 inches divided plus multiplied by 2. That's supposed to be 12 inches. So meaning that we have an excess of 1 inch. So you can see me marking that 1 inch. Do you understand? We're going to deduct it from the center back. So on the natural waistline, remember our natural waist arc is 5.25 inches. So this is me multiplied by 2. That's supposed to be about 10.5 inches. So this is me measuring, excluding my dart. Can you see that? I'll move it to the first leg of the dart, move it to the end of the dart, continue my measurement. Do you understand? So what I have essentially here is about 11.5 inches, meaning I have an excess of about 1 inch. So this is me marking where 10.5 is actually supposed to be. Do you understand? And then I'm going to just draw a diagonal line from top to bottom. You can leave the navel line and the hemline the same way it is. So just use a diagonal line to connect all of the points. Can you see that? So on the natural waistline, I still have an excess of half an inch. So I'm going to share that amongst, any of the darts. So I've chosen to do that on the second dart. So I'm going to share that on both sides. Half an inch divided by 2 is 1/4, 1/4. So I'm measuring 1/4 inches on both sides. And I'm just going to connect that back to the top of the dart and then as well as to the bottom part of my dart. So after doing that, please endeavor to also still deduct about 1 inch from your corset length. So remember that this is a snippet from this advanced online masterclass. So to purchase the full course, please follow the seller link in the description box. And also to watch the concluding part, which is part 2, please follow the link in the description box also. Thanks for watching, guys. Ciao.